Welcome back. We're glad to have you with us for the 11 o'clock news. I'm Anna Katayama. First up tonight, with frigid overnight temperatures this week, some local volunteers are wondering why parts of the city don't have emergency shelters for the homeless. Fox 12's Amel El-Hel has a look into Multnomah County's requirements for opening these shelters and why they overlooked those requirements just one cold night.
This was the scene along Northwest Hoyt Street and 14th Avenue Wednesday night as members of Portland's homeless community lined up in hopes of getting a bed inside this Multnomah County Severe Weather Center. It's where most of these people had stayed the night prior. Some of them were even transported by two Good Samaritans who rented a van to get them to a warm place to stay for the night.
We just kept going all night, got dozens of people here.
But on Wednesday night, the forecast did not meet the county's threshold for the shelter to open, leaving these folks on the sidewalk with the nearest open shelter miles away. And that includes this man who can be heard screaming and crying for help.
Are you doing okay?
These two community members who have dedicated their nights to helping people in need stopped to help the man, calling 211 in hopes of getting him transported to a shelter that was open. They were told a Lyft driver was on the way, but when the driver got there,
the driver said, "Why is he on the sidewalk?" We said, "He's a homeless man." The driver said, no way. He didn't even try to make contact.
After the driver left, the two community members called 211 again. After 25 minutes on hold, they were told another Lyft was on the way.
When the driver pulled up, he was yelling that he needed help. The driver said, "No, I'm not going to pick, I'm sorry, I'm not going to pick him up." Lyft drivers don't know what they're getting into.
After hours of failed attempts to get the man to shelter, he had gotten so cold that he couldn't move, forcing the two community members to call for an ambulance.
We're gonna do that, guys.
Legs together.
This one doesn't move at all.
While plenty of shelters were open across Multnomah County, even some beds being added for the temperatures, the threshold for emergency shelters was not met Wednesday night. The temperature has to be 25 degrees or below, or the temperature has to be at or below 32 degrees with 1 inch or more of rain with sustained winds greater than 10 miles per hour, or there needs to be a forecasted snow accumulation of 1 inch or more.
This last week was a great example of a situation where we actually didn't meet all three thresholds.
Chris Voss, Director of Emergency Management for Multnomah County, says despite not hitting any of the requirements, the county decided to open on Tuesday due to the potential for snow.
But when we started looking at the other factors, including we started to hear about some additional calls for EMS for cold. That was really a determining factor in saying, okay, you know what, maybe we didn't meet these three thresholds, but we're really close, and now we have this other factor that we can't ignore.
The community advocates asked why the thresholds are so limited, in this case to the point where someone needed to go to the hospital. So we brought that question to the county.
For us, you know, the thresholds accompanied with all of these other factors we look at, I have really appreciate the fact that we've been able to sort of incorporate all this data once again to make what we think is an informed decision to be there for the highest risk days.
Though these community members say more needs to be done.
Step outside, come out of your office, stop doing Zoom calls about this. We see people suffering every night. There are hundreds downtown who are in need of this shelter.
Amel El-Hel, Fox 12 Oregon.